What if I told you that there is a place where the stones are not just stones, but carved pages of a history that has changed face and name for 3,000 years, without ever stopping breathing? Today, I'm not just taking you to visit ruins, but on a true journey back in time to a time when the Mediterranean was a main road and men sought new lands for their dreams. We will immerse ourselves in the epic of a magical place, a city born from the hope of the Greek colonists, transformed by the strength of the Lucanians, and finally shaped by the greatness of Rome. We will discover how Posidonia, the city of the god of the sea, became Paestum, an archaeological treasure that still leaves us breathless today. Prepare to smell the scent of ancient roses and hear the call of temples that defy the centuries, because this is a story that goes far beyond the pages of a book. Picture this: the Adriatic Sea opening like a turquoise veil, and a ship that, after days and nights of sailing, finally approaches a fertile, sun kissed coast with rolling hills behind it. It's not just a landing, it's the promise of a new life, a new beginning. They were the Greeks, bold and visionary colonists, who around 600 BC landed on these beaches of Magna Graecia, bringing with them not only goods and tools, but above all dreams, ideas, and a refined culture. They were not on the run, they were in search of fortune, of land to cultivate, of a place where their ingenuity could flourish. And they found it here in what we now call Campania, a generous and welcoming land. Their pioneering spirit was palpable. With bated breath, they traced the first furrows, not for just any field, but for the borders of what would become their city, an oasis of civilization. And to whom should it be dedicated, if not to the god who had accompanied them on their long journey, the lord of the seas, Poseidon? Thus was born Posidonia, the city of the god of the sea, a name that resonated with promises and divine protection. It was not a simple process, but a challenge one day after day, with ingenuity and willpower. They didn't just build houses, they wanted to erect something that spoke of their faith, their art, their greatness. And so, step by step, stone by stone, they began to erect their temples, imposing monuments in the Doric style, which even today, after millennia, point to the sky with an almost touching dignity. To look at them is to look into the eyes of the excellence of ancient Greek architecture, their understanding of proportion, harmony, and beauty that resist all weathers. These columns, so massive yet so elegant, were not just a roof support, but a hymn to their civilization, a landmark visible from afar for sailors, and a symbol of power for the people. But life in Posidonia was not just about temples and prayers, it was a vibrant reality pulsating with activity and exchange. The heart of all this was the agora, the main square. Imagine walking among the people, the buzz of voices, the spicy scent of the goods, the bright colors of the clothes. The agora was the stage of everyday life, the place where friends and merchants met, where the fate of the city was decided, and where life in all its forms was celebrated. Trade was intense. Merchants from all over arrived with their goods, precious fabrics, exotic spices, worked metals. And from Posidonia came masterfully decorated vases, true masterpieces that told stories of gods, heroes, and everyday life. Each vase was a piece of art, a silent testimony to the creativity of these people. But it was not just an economic center. Posidonia was also a fertile ground for the mind. Walking through the agora, it would not have been uncommon to come across groups of people animated by philosophical discussions, questioning the world, nature, morality. Here, between one business and another, between a laugh and a greeting, a complex and fascinating social fabric was woven, made of profound thoughts and human bonds. And as the sun set, painting the columns of the temples red, another element made this land unique: the scent of roses. The roses of Paestum were famous throughout the ancient world, a symbol of beauty and luxury, and are said to have bloomed twice a year. Imagine walking in an ancient garden, intoxicated by that unmistakable aroma which mixed with the salty taste of the sea and the warmth of the earth. A true earthly paradise, where culture, nature, and spirituality blended in perfect harmony. But history, as we know, is never linear. Often new forces emerge, bringing with them unexpected changes. Thus, while Poseidonia flourished, another population, the Lucanians, came down from the mountains of the interior. They were proud warriors, accustomed to the harsh life and the challenges of nature, with traditions and a language different from those of the Greeks. Their arrival around 400 BC was not a simple visit, it was a wave that overwhelmed the Greek city, marking the beginning of a new era. The Lucanians did not arrive to destroy, but to impose their hegemony, their culture, their laws. This was a crucial moment, a real turning point. Two worlds so different found themselves coexisting, clashing, and surprisingly merging. Imagine the tension, the challenges, the initial misunderstandings. But over time, like water shaping stone, the two cultures began to influence each other. The Lucanians, while maintaining their Italic traditions, were fascinated by Greek refinement, by their art, by their architecture. Likewise, the Greeks adapted to the new customs, the new habits of their conquerors. It was not a total submission, but an amalgam, a melting pot of ideas, beliefs, ways of life. A new identity emerged, vibrant and unique, a fascinating mix that enriched the city in unexpected ways. Posidonia became a true melting pot of influences, where Greek deities were venerated alongside Lucanian ones, where funerary practices mixed, and where art reflected this new complex reality. This often overlooked period is crucial to understanding the city's resilience and adaptability. It is the demonstration that the encounter between different cultures, although initially difficult, can lead to a richness and depth that would otherwise not exist. It's a lesson that has been with us for 3,000 years. The most beautiful and lasting stories are born from fusion, not isolation. But the history of this land had not yet finished surprising us. Not long after the arrival of the Lucanians, another force, even larger and more imposing, appeared on the Mediterranean: Rome. The Romans, with their military organization and their thirst for expansion, were destined to change the face of much of the known world. And our city, which had already seen Greeks and Lucanians, was no exception. At the beginning of the 3rd century BC, after long wars and complex political events, the city fell under Roman rule. It was not an end, but yet another transformation, a further evolution. And with this new dominion came a new name. Posidonia became Paestum. Under Roman control, the city underwent a major urban reorganization. The Romans were masters of engineering and city planning, and brought their innovations with them. New roads were built, precisely paved, connecting Paestum to the vast Roman Empire, facilitating trade and travel. And at the center of civil and administrative life, right next to the majestic Greek temples, arose the Roman Forum. This is not an insignificant detail. Imagine this scene: the new Roman buildings, with their functionality and efficiency, standing alongside the grandiose Greek temples, now ancient but still imposing. It's a powerful image, the new respecting the old, the present bowing to the past. The Greek temples, with their severe and silent columns, became the silent witnesses of a glorious past, of an era that preceded the arrival of Rome. The Romans did not destroy them; on the contrary, they admired them, preserved them, recognizing their inestimable historical and cultural value. This ability to assimilate and respect pre existing cultures was one of the keys to Rome's success. And in Paestum, we have an exemplary demonstration of this. The Forum became the new political, economic, and social center, but the imposing presence of the Greek temples was a constant reminder of the deep roots of this city, its stratification, the different hands that had shaped it. And so Paestum continued to live, combining Greek grandeur, Lucanian pride, and Roman efficiency, a jewel in the heart of the empire. And we come to today. After 2,000 years of history, of changes, of successive civilizations, Paestum is still here. It is no coincidence that it is one of the most important and best preserved archaeological sites in the world. This is not just an ancient city, it is a history in stone, a tale carved in rock that tells us of men, of gods, of conquests, and cultural fusions. There is something magical in the way time and nature have protected this treasure. For centuries, Paestum was forgotten, swallowed up by vegetation, covered by sand and silence. This oblivion, however, was his salvation. It was a kind of protective sleep that preserved it from the destruction and looting that afflicted many other ancient sites. The surrounding marshlands, which had once perhaps hindered its full flowering, became its guardians, an invisible veil that hid it from the eyes of men for centuries. And when, in the 18th century, it was rediscovered, it was as if a giant had awakened from a long sleep, bringing with him the secrets of distant eras. Today, the majestic walls, the temples that defy the elements, the remains of the streets, and the Roman Forum all tell us its story. Every column, every brick, every fragment of ceramic is a whisper of the past. It is the story of courageous settlers who dared to dream of a new homeland, of proud warriors who fused their traditions with those of another civilization, and of an empire that honored the past while building the future. Paestum is a journey through time, a place where we can experience firsthand the immortality of a legacy, a story that continues to inspire and enchant us. If this journey through time has fascinated you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future adventures through the folds of history.